Good afternoon, Facebook. Today is Thursday. It is 1 o'clock. It is time for Therapy Thursday. Come on in. We have some good stuff planned for you today. You know what I'm doing. I am jumping on my Graceful Journey counseling page so that we can go live. Hey, Ladybug, how are you? It's good to see you this week. How are you doing? Did you get my text message? We are live. We're here and we are ready to go. Let's see. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. Hey Ram, how you doing? I'm just trying to set up my there we go. A Graceful Journey as well as my personal page. We are live. We are here. We are ready to go. Can you guys see me okay? It is so good to have you here. If you see me kind of going back and forth from one camera to the next, don't be alarmed. Hey, Ram, how are you? So don't be alarmed. I am actually going live on both my Graceful Journey counseling page. Hello to my Graceful Journey audience. Thank you so much for joining me. I am sorry that I had a difficult time on the last one, trying to get you all set up, but I couldn't. For some reason, there was something going on with my phone, and I couldn't get on, so I ended up having to copy and paste. But I'm glad to have you guys here. Good afternoon. It is raining here in the Dallas area, so we are trying to stay dry and warm because it's a little cold for us over here. So we are here. Um, are you guys watching Power or any of the other things? I have not watched Power yet. I've been seeing little things, but I said I was going to take some time out to watch a little bit of Ratchet TV. It's it's good, but it's kind of ratchet. A little murder, mayhem, mystery. Um, hey Georgina, I heard you rocked the house this week or last weekend with your comedy and your stand-up special. Congratulations, sis, for getting out there and doing it and telling those jokes and making people laugh. I am so proud of you. Please keep going and keep doing it. I can't wait to see you on TV on your own HBO special. So I'm speaking that. So when it happens, you can just put my name on the end of the credits because I said it. I said it. I said it. I said it. You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, I know it's only three of us right now in this community, but if you can, please share this on your page because somebody is going to need what we are talking about today. Somebody is they're kind of in a fix, right? This is somebody who is spiritual, somebody who is of the faith, and they're having questions. Hi, Mr. Mitchell. How are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining me. So if you can share this on your page and let somebody, hey Melvia, how you doing, Ladybug? It's good to see you. Congratulations for your story in the magazine. You tearing up Charlotte in that real estate department. You better sell them houses, sis. Yes. So share this on your page because somebody is having they have questions. They want to know whether or not they can actually have their faith and a therapist at the same time. And we've seen all the memes, but today we're going to have us a good conversation about how important our faith is to our mental health, mental wellness, and why it's important to bring both of those things together. Mr. Mitchell, today we are talking about spirituality and therapy, and how we can have theology and therapy both at the same time. That you do not have to sacrifice your faith for your therapist, and you do not have to sacrifice your therapist for your faith, right? And so, no matter what your religious persuasion is, whether you are a part of organized religion or whether you subscribe to more of a spirituality. Hey, cousin Janae, how are you, Ladybug? Thank you for joining me. You do not have to sacrifice your spirituality in order to seek therapeutic services, and you do not have to sacrifice your therapeutic services if you are of the faith. And so that's something that we are going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about why it's important for you to mesh those things together, for you to bring them together. Hey, Jonna, thank you for coming in today. And you and I still are supposed to do lunch. So I am so happy to have us. We're about 5 minutes in. Thank you so much for sharing this on your page. Somebody is going to need this, right? And so here in a couple of weeks, what you're going to find is I also am going to start a YouTube channel so that people who are not on Facebook can have the opportunity to see these videos and use them however they so need and see fit. Okay. So today we are discussing, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. Let me just say this. I have a speaking engagement on next Saturday. I'm going to be speaking with Beverly Brown and her Be Fit movement. And I will be talking about the importance of being well balanced, the importance of balance, and how balance is one of the key ingredients to our success. And I'm not talking about success that other people have defined for you. I'm talking about your own level of success. Whatever it is that you have deemed successful, I'm going to be with Miss Beverly in Fort Worth. I will post that on my page. So come back on my page. And I'm also going to post it on the Graceful Journey Counseling page. So if you don't have access to my personal page, that's just fine. I'm going to post that up there. And as a matter of fact, I think that event is sold out. But what I will do is I will have someone maybe recording live, because I'm going to talk about being well balanced and why balance is going to be the key. It is the secret to your success. Because what happens is that when we are out of balance, we leave the door open for all the things that can attack us to attack us. And it only happens when we find a life that is out of balance. When the door and the opening is meeting in places where it needs to meet, it gives us an opportunity to set the tone for our own success, but it also helps us to keep out things that can be hindrances to our success, such as distractions and all types of other things. Listen, I'm not giving y'all my whole speech, because if you want to hear what's going on, you need to be down here in Fort Worth, Texas on the 16th, okay? And we can talk about it. So let's get right into what we are discussing today, and that is therapy and theology, how faith and therapy can work and coincide in with one another. So if any of you know my background at all, I am a PK. I grew up in the church. We call those preachers' kids. And I grew up in the church, and the church has been a part of my life and growing up in existence, right? And whether we know it or not, and you do not have to subscribe to any specific faith in order to find this information helpful and useful. So that's the one thing that I want to remind you, is that we're not just talking about the Christian faith, all of the ones that are, I would say, the main religions, the main organized religions. So I'm talking Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, Buddhist, Hinduism, those are the major religions that we're talking about. But what you will come to find out is that there are people who, of all faiths and of all backgrounds, who sometimes feel that their faith is tested, tried, or even questioned or compromised when they seek therapy. And so, and a lot of people won't seek therapy because they have not found a therapeutic environment that is open to them bringing their faith into their sessions, right? So we want to talk about that. I believe there was a study done a few years ago about the importance of spirituality in the lives of Americans. And believe it or not, even though there is a lot of controversy now, particularly with organized religion and some of the things that we are seeing in the media about what organized religion is representing for our country, particularly in the political arena, people seem less interested in subscribing to organized religion, right? And so a lot of times we'll find people and we'll meet people and they'll say, hey, I'm spiritual, but I don't participate in any of the organized religions for one reason or the next. And of course, they have their right to do that. But 85% of people in this study, and this is Americans, 85% of them said that spirituality and faith was an important part of their daily life and their daily living. So even though people may not be subscribing to what we would consider organized religion, they are still taking the opportunity to say that spirituality is a very important part in how they live their lives, and how they see their lives, and how they see others within their lives. faith and spirituality is still playing a very important role for a lot of people. And with that being said, and we can find that the thread, we can find faith and religion or spirituality, the common thread is when you make decisions. How do you make decisions? How do you choose, choose your, how do you go about deciding and choosing what job to take? What about this relationship? What about this friendship? What about should I do this, that, or the third? However you subscribe, whatever your specific understanding of your faith and your spirituality, it is playing a major role in our lives. So it can be a little bit, it can be a lot, whatever, it's playing a major role. With that being said, we have to, as therapists, our responsibility is to create a space where our clients can come in and bring with them their spiritual compass. The reason why so many people find spirituality and faith so important is for many people that is the anchor upon which they build the foundation of their lives, right? This is a healthy foundation for a lot of people. They see it as being something that is important as they are building the other tiers and the other layers of their life. And so if their faith is going to be the foundation of that, as clinicians, we have to give space for clients to be able to express and to implement their faith as they are seeking treatment for whatever reason they're coming into therapy. So again, I grew up in the church, and I will tell you that there was and still is in many cases a stigma attached to mental health when it comes to the religious and the spiritual community. Physical health, it's been more embraced, but when you talk about mental health, depending on what religion you subscribe to, a lot of times there's a negative connotation that there is oftentimes demonic forces that may be working against the person, or that this is some sort of spiritual punishment that may be working against the person, and it may be exhibiting itself in the life of the individual, right? So the reason why you are experiencing what you are experiencing is because maybe you've dishonored God in some way. Maybe you're not living your life according to the way you're supposed to be living your life. And so this is why you are having these, what they would call spiritual attacks, and that it's happening on the mind. That's just some of the rhetoric that you hear when you are in some of the church settings, that there has to be something wrong, or there has to be a disconnect with your faith. Either you're not believing enough, either you're not trusting God enough. There is something wrong. There's a crack in the system of your faith, in the foundation of your faith, and it is exhibiting itself through your mental health and your mental wellness. So that's one of the stigmas that you can find when you hear a lot of people who are religious speak about mental health and mental wellness, that there has to be something wrong with your faith. Because if you trust God enough, if you believed enough, if you prayed enough, if you meditated enough, if you were a good person, so you must be a bad person if this thing is affecting your mental health. If you have a mental health issue, then obviously you must be a bad person. And so it's important that we attack some of these stigmas and allow our clients, again, to bring their faith in. So one of the things that I want us to take away from this is that if you are experiencing some mental health concerns, it has absolutely nothing to do with the level of your faith in God, your trust in your higher power and the higher being. However you want to see that, I'm going to use God just because that's probably more familiar with me. But whatever your higher being, whatever your understanding of the universe is, you are not in violation in some way of the tenets of your faith if you are in some way experiencing something that has to do with your mental health and mental wellness. And so it's not until, as clinicians or even as people of the faith, it's not until we can disconnect there being some sort of issue with your faith and your relationship with God. Until we can make that disconnect, it also makes it very difficult for religious organizations and faith-based organizations to even recommend counseling and therapy, because there's already this stigma that's attached to it, right? So we want to attack this from a religious standpoint first and see whether or not we can kind of fix you. And then you can kind of see if a therapeutic approach will work for you. And we've got to be very careful about that because we don't want people in our religious organizations and our religious settings to not seek help because they think if I do, it's some sort of negative toward who I am as a person and my spirituality. So we need to be very careful with that in our church settings. Okay. So that's just something that I wanted to kind of throw out there about that. Now, can you see a therapist and have faith at the same time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Just as you would see your heart doctor, your kidney doctor, your liver doctor, your whatever doctor you would see, just as your faith is not compromised or questioned by getting any sort of other medical attention, seeing a therapist also is not an indictment against your faith. Right? Oftentimes, I tell clients, please bring your faith in these settings because if it's important to you, then it has to be important to me as we are seeking to come together, you and I, to create a very healthy plan that will help you to attack some of the concerns and the issues that you are dealing with, right? I cannot allow you to come in here. I remember seeing a client some years ago, and they were like, well, this is what I believe. And they asked me, are you a Christian counselor? And the first thing that I say when someone asks me if I'm a Christian counselor is absolutely not. I'm not a Christian counselor. I'm a counselor who happens to be a Christian. Okay. And I have to say it that way because, and there are some people out there who identify as Christian counselors, and I'm not knocking that. That's not a knock on you. Please, if that's how you are, describing yourself in your bios and your profiles, because there are people who are specifically looking for you. They're specifically looking for someone that is a Christian counselor. They want it in that way, right? Because it says to them that this person is going to ascribe to my faith, that they understand where I'm coming from. If I make a biblical reference, they're not saying, what? The book of who? They're not saying 2 Corinthians. They don't need that, right? So if you are of the faith and you are a Christian counselor, and that's how you are describing yourself in all of your publications, please do that. For me, what I found is that when people come in, they're not necessarily looking for you to be a what if I'm not a Christian, right? Will you be able to help me if we don't ascribe to the same faith? And so this is the reason why I say I'm a counselor who happens to be a Christian, because in that way, my counseling that's why you're here. You're not here for me to preach to you, you're not here for that. What you're here for is therapeutic interventions that is going to be important with addressing the concern that you come with. Now, if you come in and you're saying, well, yes, I am a Christian and I would like for you to, discuss things of the Christian faith, then yes, we can have that conversation. If you open the door, yes, absolutely, we can have that conversation. But my goal is to ensure that my environment is conducive for no matter whatever faith walks into the door. Your faith enhances, yes, Auntie Yvette, your faith enhances your therapy, because what it does is it helps you bridge the gap between your spiritual connection. Because oftentimes when people come in and they have a concern, the first thing that I come to find out is that there has been some sort of disconnect between the thing that is the foundation of what they feel their life is anchored upon, and then the situation that's at hand, right? So if I feel as though there is a disconnect between what is the foundation of my life, what I consider to be a very pivotal, important component of my life, and the problem that I'm seeking, bringing your faith into the therapeutic arena allows us to bridge that gap between those two things, so that you can understand both the spiritual component of what you bring in and the practical component of the therapeutic interventions that we bring in to help you solve the problem. It brings it together. It actually mixes mixes it up in a bowl, and then we can come up with therapeutic interventions that actually is going to work for you from a spiritual perspective, right? Absolutely. So my aunt is so on point. And one of these days, I tell you, Auntie Yvette, you are coming on here with me and we are going to talk together. We're going to have a good Auntie niece discussion about this. My aunt said we can use the client's spiritual principles to solve worldly problems. And that's exactly what it is. What it is it's giving you a very practical approach from a therapeutic standpoint on how to use your spirituality in conjunction with these great coping skills and mechanisms that we have for problem solving, and we bring them together to be a force for you to be able to use on your own outside of the therapeutic environment, right? So when my clients come in, I tell them to bring their faith with them. Sit it on the couch with you because, and even sometimes, here's the thing, this is something that I want to tell you that I think is so important, that sometimes in therapy, our spiritual perspectives are challenged. They're challenged, right? We challenge, you may say, you know what, this is something that I've believed all of my life because it's what I've heard in my faith community. And right now, it's not working with me anymore. I'm not, and I don't know how to balance what I have come to know to be my truth or my understanding or my knowledge of my truth and what I've been taught in this arena. So I'm not sure how I need to balance that. We can talk about that in therapy. We can talk about that in therapy. We can talk about the truth that sometimes we hold to faith based principles that we do not see the fruit of those principles in our lives, and it can be discouraging to the way that we handle problems and the way that we see problems. So when you bring that into the therapeutic environment, we can ask questions that would evoke you to ask questions, right? That will put you into the position to where you are asking questions, and then you can come to a good healthy resolve. Sometimes you can come to a resolve. Sometimes it's a question that can't be answered until it's answered, right? Maybe it'll take a little bit more life experience for you to be able to answer that. Who knows what it is, but we can have those conversations in your therapeutic session, right? We can do that, and we don't again have to exclude your faith in order to tackle some of these concerns and issues that you have. Listen, I think one of the most important things that I have come to see is when a client walks in and they bring up something of faith or something that's important to them, be it something from the Quran, or be it something from the Bible, or be it a they do these daily devotionals that they have, right? And they're like, this is something that I've been struggling with. I'm upset with God, or I'm upset with my higher power or my higher being, and I don't understand why things are going the way that they're going in my life. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm a avid, whatever. I do my prayers. I'm a good person. I feed the poor, and I'm still having a very difficult time reconciling why some of these things are happening in my life, and I just don't understand. Bring that into therapy, right? Bring that into therapy, because what I come to find out is a lot of times when we are having issues in our faith, and we may be afraid to address those concerns in our faith community, because in those communities everybody thinks or feels or assumes that we're all on the same page and that we're all at the same level. And it's really not until you can have a very open discussion with a therapist, right? A person who's not biased, a person that there's no expectation of you to be here or there in your faith, in your understanding, in your practice, right? To where you can have these really open conversations about how you feel in terms of where your life is in reference to your faith. So one of the things that I wanted just to kind of get across to you is that seeking therapy, just as in seeking any other medical attention for any other concern you may have with your body, is not an indictment on your faith. It is not. It is not an indictment on your faith. It is really, it is a, gosh, it is a very mature way of you understanding that there are just going to be some problems and some concerns that once you've prayed about it, once you've meditated about it, once you've, once you've applied your faith to it, now I need some very practical steps and tools that I can use when I'm, say, dealing with anxiety, when I'm dealing with depression, when I'm dealing with self doubt, when I'm dealing with a difficult relationship, when I don't know how to deal with that difficult boss at work, when I'm dealing, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, you may be saying to yourself, but Tori, you don't understand. I pray and I still feel like nothing is changing. I feel like, things are just still the same. And I don't know why things are the same. Come sit down and talk to me and we can talk about it. We can talk about it in any way that you feel comfortable. But your faith is not weak because you seek help. It's just not. It's not weak because you're seeking help. And seek help. And if your spirituality is something that's important for you, I'm going to say return back to that, right? Like I said, 85% of people surveyed said that spirituality and faith is important to them. It's an important part of the foundation of their life. And if that's an important part of the foundation of your life, and you feel in some way that you may have stepped away from that, you're saying, I used to do, X, Y, and Z, and I don't do that anymore because life gets in the way. Your spirituality oftentimes is really what brings you back to center. It's really what brings you back to that anchor. I like to sometimes describe our mental places. Sometimes it feels like we're thrown in a washing machine, right? And when you're in a washing machine, everything is moving. You have the suds, you have the water, it's in your ears and your eyes and your throat and your nose, it's everywhere. You can't find your north. Life has a way of tossing us around that we can't find our north. We don't, this sudden thing happened and we just can't seem to find our directional north. Revert back, go back to the foundation upon which your life is built upon, and that is your spirituality and your faith. Go back there. If it means meditating, if it means reading, if it means praying, if it means burning sage, whatever it means for you, if it's non-traditional, if it's traditional, whatever you have come to understand as being your faith and your spirituality, that has been the anchor upon which your life has been built, the foundation of your life has been built, return back to that. Return back to the thing that's familiar for you. Return back to the thing that is directional for you. Return back to the thing that is safe for you. Return back to the thing that hasn't changed, although so many other things around you have changed. When you return back to that thing, you come sit down and talk to a therapist. I'm certain that you will be able to find really good direction for where you need to go ahead. That is my therapy Thursday. That's it. You guys, I am so thankful that I get the opportunity to sit with you every Thursday for half of my lunch hour, and then the other half I have to go do notes. Don't tell nobody. But I am so thankful that you guys join me every Thursday. I want you to share this on your page. Cousin Catrice, Miss Veronica in Atlanta. Hey girl, hey. Hey Jeff, how you doing? Cousin Sam, share this video on your page. Somebody has questions. Somebody is saying, you know what? I love God. I'm faithful to God. And I feel like if I go talk to somebody, I'm betraying God. Maybe somehow I don't believe that he can help me the way that I used to think he can help me, because back in the day, I would talk to God and then things would just happen. And now nothing seems to be happening. And I don't know if I just don't believe as hard as I should. No, you are believing, and God sends help through different people, through different mediums. Don't let the boat pass you by and you drown in the ocean waiting on the helicopter. You heard me. Don't let the boat go by and you drown waiting on the helicopter to come and save you. God, the universe, sends help to you in ways that you never thought was possible. It can be the person at the grocery store. It can be this video saying you need to go sit down and talk to somebody, have a conversation. It can be about anything, but just go sit and talk. This is your boat to help you not sink and drown in those things in life that you feel like is overtaking you. You feel like the water is up to my neck. I almost can't breathe, and I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on the universe to help me. And they're saying, hello, this is the video. She said, go talk to somebody, ask a question, send her a DM and say, hey, do you have somebody in the area that you can recommend that I can talk to? Yes, I do. I know somebody that you can talk to. Do not drown in your problems waiting on the helicopter when this is the boat that has been sent to rescue you. Okay. I am so thankful that you guys were here. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on www.gracefuljourneycounseling.com. Hit that contact me button. You can send me an email. And if you want to talk, my phone number is up there. So call me. We can talk. Okay. Or if you want, hi, Mr. Buchanan, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, cousin Adrian, how are you? Thank you for joining me too. Please share this video on your page, okay? Because somebody needs to hear that they can go seek therapy and still have their faith at the same time. Somebody needs to hear that today. So you share it on your page so that they can hear it through you, okay? Be a messenger for somebody today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am so happy to have you. I'll see y'all next week on Therapy Thursday. You know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about getting through the holidays. We're going to talk about hope for the holidays. The holidays are coming up, and although we say happy holiday, the holidays are not always happy for people. People are grieving. They are financially strapped. They don't have the money. And so they are facing the holiday season and they're anxious about whether or not they're going to be able to supply for their kids, whether or not they're going to be able to put up a Christmas tree. I'm going to talk to you next week on Thursday, a week from today, same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to talk about hope for the holidays. We're going to talk about how you're going to get through this holiday season without feeling anxious, without feeling depressed, with being able to put some of these things into the proper perspective as you're going into the holiday and into the new year. I am so thankful to have you guys. It's 1:32. I'm jumping off because guess what? I got a client. I'm so thankful. It's good to see you guys. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.